What's up, YouTube? Today we're going to learn how to do two different types of shuffles, two unique types of shuffles, I should correct myself, as well as, I believe it's 5 different types of bridges. And just for your knowledge's sake, this is a bridge, and this is a cascade. Not a perfect cascade, but you get the idea. They're two different things. I hear them interchanged a lot. But that's the difference, all right? And then a waterfall is, I'll just put a video right here because I'm not great at waterfalls. All right, so grab yourself a nice little deck of cards, preferably something new if you have one, because it will make your life a bit easier. Now let's get started. Now, hopefully you watched the video at the very beginning as it demonstrates everything we're gonna learn, right? So we're gonna learn a one on the table shuffle, and we're gonna learn an in the hands shuffle. And this is mainly, even though I'm teaching you the shuffle, it's mainly focused on the bridges. Yes, mainly focused on the bridges. The first shuffle is gonna be a very unique table shuffle that I haven't seen anywhere. And although it's unique, it's easy. And it's a little crazy to me that nobody's taught it on the YouTuber here. So the way that this works is basically I was taught this by a guy who does gambling work, and he was saying that you cannot, in a game of poker, and I know this is true, you can't do a riffle shuffle and a bridge like that in a game of poker because you're flashing cards. But in some instances, you can get away with a different type of shuffle. So this is a better way to shuffle. The cards come out like this. You take them, and then you intertwine them, just like that. And then from here, you have two options for a bridge. If you're not doing gambling work, you can roll them up. You can do a normal in the hands bridge, or I'm gonna shoot this one from the front, or you can intertwine them and then bring them up again. But instead, you're gonna come deeper into your thumbs, push, keep your fingers on the top, push, roll them down, so you're on the table, and then you're gonna let go. So they all intertwine like that. That second one, I'm not perfect at it because I don't really like it that much. It bends the cards in a weird way, but it is very, very pretty looking. So I will teach it. So here we go. So let's start off with how to do that shuffle. The shuffle is pretty easy itself. You're gonna have the cards on the table facing, perpendicular to you. You're going to grab the top section of the cards with your thumb and your middle finger, and the bottom section of the cards with your thumb and your middle finger. I actually like to grab them with my ring and middle. And so what I'm doing on the other side there, and we can get a shot of that up there, but you can see I have my thumbs are higher on this side and lower on this side. So they split the deck like this, all right? That's the first step. You split the deck and you're holding it the same way in each hand. Now this is the part that looks like it could be hard, but it's really, really easy because you have this nice level table here. By the way, you want to have a table preferably with not a hard surface. This is velvet, but you can do like a t-shirt or really any kind of piece of fabric on top of a hard surface, and this should be very easy and very doable. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna push these together here so it kind of makes them flush, so they line up, and you're gonna turn it very slightly, not a like heavy turn like that, although you probably can do that, just a very slight turn, and you're gonna bend the cards up so these corners here are touching the table. So you tap them together, bend them up so these corners are touching the table. Your fingers, though, are not. Your fingers over here are not. You're going to split them apart here. See the V? I'm exaggerating. You just need to do a tiny bit. And then you're going to push so the cards bend at those corners. And you're going to see those corners, you're going to push up. So you see that motion? It's a really weird motion. But you can see the cards intertwining just like that. So what I'm doing is I'm pushing, and my hands are going back towards the table, and my thumbs are kind of levering up, just like that. And it gets all the cards to intertwine like this. And that's pretty much it. So again, put them here. These two corners stay on the table. Bring the fingers in the back off the table, push those corners together, push, 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 and you see them all intertwined just like that. It's a very, very simple shuffle. If you have trouble with it, let me know in the comments, because I feel like that was a pretty good overview. Now, once I have them shuffled together, they're all intertwined. That is not a perfect FARO, so don't get mad at me for it not being a perfect FARO. I'm not teaching you a perfect FARO. I'm teaching you some bridges. So now you're going to take them with your first finger. I roll the cards up, right, like this. I'm then going to put my thumbs on the top. My fingers are going to be on the bottom. Now, if you know an in the hands riffle shuffle, you're going to know where I'm going with this. So you're going to put pressure with your thumbs and your fingers. At the same time, your hands are going to angle. And that angle, let me see if I can do it, is going to look like this. You're going to try to touch your knuckles to your knuckles. All right? So you don't want to move your fingers. You're pushing with your fingers. You're pushing with your thumbs. And you're going to try to touch your knuckles together like this. It really bends the cards. And then what you're going to do is you're going to release your fingers, which doesn't release the cards necessarily. But what will release the cards is you're going to see these two knuckles here, these two bottom knuckles. You're going to start making those go farther and farther apart while keeping your thumbs in the same place. So it's this weird motion. It's this weird motion where you're going like this, essentially. That's the motion you want to get that cascade to happen. All cascades kind of, if I say cascade, bridges to happen. All your bridges are always going to work like that. There's always a point on the deck where your fingers don't move, and another point where you're giving space. So that is the way to do it. So again, if I do, I'll just try to jump ahead, roll it back, push here, push with your fingers, make a big old U, and then see it from the other side. I put my fingers down. I start leveraging my hands to let them fly on out. And that's it. It's like self-working. It's going to be amazing the first time you get that if you've never done it before. Okay, so the other way to do this is very, very similar. It's the same thing. It's just in reverse, if that makes sense. So we're going to intertwine them again, roll them back again. But instead this time, you're going to grab it with the crotch of your thumb, right? This is the crotch of your thumb. Your thumb has a crotch. Don't kick it there. It hurts. But what's going to happen is instead of going this way, you're going to come and bend the cards this way. You're going to put your fingers on top, and your fingers are doing the job of your thumbs, and your thumbs are doing the job of your fingers. So you're going to do this, right? Keeping everything together. You want to bend all the cards in a U, and your thumbs keep it up there, and then by the time you're ready to do it, it should allow, it should stay even though you remove your thumbs. Like if I remove my thumbs back here, see how the cards start moving, but if I bend it all the way, the cards won't move yet. It won't be until I open up my hands that same way. So those two knuckles again are moving apart, but this time your fingers stay in the same place. So we go like this. Boom. All right, so it's a little bit hard to do slow. I'm going to do the same thing, angle this way. Hey, camera. Go like this. We'll intertwine them like that. You roll them back, just like that. Crotch of the thumb, fingers on top. You bend them this way. Now instead, when I can use the table to take place of my fingers. So I'm going to push with my thumbs, and I'm going to roll it forward and place it on the table here. So hopefully you can see from this angle and from the behind angle, although the behind angle from my perspective doesn't look as good. So I hold them like this. See, I get my thumbs out of the way when I use the table, and I'm almost like, I don't know what you'd call it, but once I have it in that good U shape, it's gonna stay because it's against the table. To get them to come out, all I'm gonna do is move my thumbs apart here. And boom. That's it. But you can see the reason I don't like it is it really puts a bend in the cards, and it feels like that bend is going the wrong way. So this next one is an in the hands FARO. I'm not going to teach you a perfect FARO because I can't do a perfect FARO. It's not really my forte. So this shuffle is going to use an in the hands riffle that seems like it might be a perfect FARO, but it is not. So we're going to move this a little bit. So to do the perfect FARO, to do the FARO, I like to hold the cards with the faces towards me here. Actually, no. I like to hold the cards like this. You're gonna take them and you're gonna hold them in not a very deep hold. So my first finger can stay curled behind here, 3 fingers here. I usually put my pinky on the bottom, and then I'm gonna cut off a little bit less than half the deck because of how these are gonna work. Let me move this a little bit here. All right, so once I get these off, I'm gonna take the corners here and I'm gonna push them into each other. So you can see how I'm holding both decks. It's kind of like backwards, right? My first finger here, and this is taking the first finger on the other side. So you have your thumb. Just want you to get a good look. Make sure you copy the exact way I'm holding. Now this corner and this corner are gonna go together. So I'm gonna put them together. And what's gonna happen is I'm gonna push them down. You can see the corners push this way here. I'm holding very tight on the cards. I don't want any other portion of the cards moving except for this portion here. And then what you're gonna do is you can see that the cards, I'm bending this way. My hand is pushing in. See how I'm pushing against? And then what I'm gonna do is my hand is gonna roll almost away from the cards. It's gonna roll this way. It kind of allows all of those cards to intertwine. If you get snags, you can just kind of shake your hand and they'll all kind of keep going, if that makes sense. So like a snag would be, let me see, like this, like it's not moving. And if I shake, it'll kind of keep going, just like that. All right, so I push down and I'm gonna roll my hand back and I have a snag. I just kind of shake my hand a little and then boom, like that. Now that's what I don't want. I don't want a card to come out on top like this. So I'm just gonna pull them out and redo that. Because what I do want is I want a card on the outside on this one and the outside on this one. The reasoning is because I need to let go of this. And if there's a card here to hold these, it's going to be easier to do that. And you obviously don't want to shake it around because they're just barely held in there. Now, what's going to happen is for the first bridge, you're going to use your thumb and your middle finger. You're going to grab and you're going to take your first finger here and push in the center here to allow those cards to have that nice bow. And you're going to do it so deep that they don't move, right? If they're flying out already, it means you're not gripping them with a big enough C grip there. You want to close your C up. So now, as I open my hand, they're all going to intertwine just automatically. It should be kind of an automatic action. So now we're at this stage. So I'm going really slow because there's a lot that happens in these 3 moves. I'm now going to switch hands. Now you don't have to switch hands. You could do this next move with your left hand, but I like to switch hands. So I'm just taking them and just literally switching hands, holding with my middle finger here, my thumb, and keeping my first finger on the back. And then I'm going to use my ring finger and my thumb, ring finger and thumb here, to do this. Your ring finger is going to hit one corner, and your thumb is going to go on the opposite corner. And you're going to bend as much as you can in like this. Now, the more that these cards are just like separated, so for instance, if these cards are more up, this is going to result in a better final bridge, that third bridge. For this bridge, it won't matter, but if they're in, it's going to be much harder to do that final bridge because what's essentially going to happen in this bridge is they're going to intertwine this way, but they're going to disconnect this way. So let me show you what I mean by that. So I'm going to take my ring finger and my thumb, and it's almost like your goal for this should be, I want to try to touch my ring finger and my thumb without having the cards slip off either finger. So you don't want them to slip off. I'm keeping some pressure here so they don't move. Now this one, you're not going to be able to grip them enough to where they just stay by themselves just because of how this works. So I put fingers here to kind of keep them from moving till I can get my hand in the position. I'm basically rotating so my hand gets in the right position down here, and I'm going to open my bottom hand wide enough to capture what's about to happen. You bend, it's like you're trying to touch your middle finger and your ring finger. And you see my hand is super wide when I open it. That was a little bit sloppy, but it's okay because you can still get away with the last one. But you can see how these now are separated. They kind of intertwine one by one by one like this, and that's what you want. You wouldn't let go, obviously, and spread them out like that. So you're holding them, you have them here. You're gonna grab them with your middle finger and your thumb again. And then this hand is gonna do the final one. And all it's gonna do is it's gonna use your middle finger and your thumb. And you're gonna push with your first finger here. And you're gonna bend just like you were before. So you have that nice C. And then this time you're gonna move these two apart. Just like that. So in sequence, it looks really cool. It looks like you're doing more than you're actually doing. You've only done one shuffle, but it almost looks like you've done three because you're doing 3 bridges. So it should look like this. You're going to take them, intertwine them in that corner. So you end up with something like this. You're going to put them in your hand, let them intertwine. Might have to push that last card up with your first finger. You're going to, I switch hands, you don't have to. And then you're going to take your ring finger and your thumb. You're going to let them intertwine just right there. And then for the last one, they all intertwine. That was a little bit sloppy, but you kind of get the gist. The more you do these things, the smoother that they will get. All right, guys, thank you very much for watching. If you have any other things that you want to learn or you haven't seen a tutorial for it on YouTube, I'm not going to reveal somebody else's magic trick, but if it's something that's like super commonly known, like certain passes or double lifts or certain magic tricks or just certain sleights or flourishes that you want to know that you can't find a good video on, feel free to leave me in the comments below. Make sure to also give me a thumbs up if you like this video. If it helps you out at all or you kind of like any of the techniques I taught, give me a thumbs up, consider the subscription thing, and have a great day. Adios.